Instagram photographer.
Hey, what's up, everyone? So it's Mark with Palm Customs. I'm here with a couple of my friends. You guys know Spanish Carl.
How's it going? Carlos will do.
And this is my good friend Toby, also known as British Ben by me. So
I thought you were going to skip the British Ben.
Oh, dude, I like the British Ben. Yeah, no. So first, I'd like to say thank you to Toby for being here with us. He has a lot of knowledge. He's a what would you call yourself? Automotive photographer? Automotive videographer?
No, an automotive photographer. Videography is, I'm sort of now getting into that.
So first, let's kind of plug, Toby has his own YouTube channel. He does some pretty amazing stuff. Why don't you tell us a little bit about plug your stuff? Yeah, plug your stuff.
An early plug. So like I say, I'm just getting into the videography thing, and this isn't something I want to do because I see so many people doing it, and I hate following trends. That's sort of why I didn't want to. I just think that if you see a photographer, which there are so many online on any platform, whatever, you see so many, but I think when you see a photographer or whatever the professional service is, if you see a video and you see the personality behind that person, I think that sells a lot more, and you get to know them on a personal level, and you're more inclined to choose them over somebody who's just a page with some pretty nice pictures. You know?
Yeah.
So that's the main reason I do it. It's sort of like the man behind the lens type thing. So I'm doing that. I'm basically doing something I've always wanted to do as well, deep down, which is kind of like a bit of automotive journalism. And I have a great passion for cars, a great knowledge for all of them. Mostly, you go back into the 50s and stuff, and American cars, that's where I start to drop off. But
Fade on the American.
But I'm talking about the cars in great depth, which again is something that's done a lot, and photography in depth, which is something that's done a lot. But I haven't seen the two of them done together in one video, which is going to be something I'm doing in each video.
You just did a really nice Porsche.
Yes, the Taycan Turbo S.
Yes.
A massive smile on my face.
Yes.
That was really hard to review because it's just so hard when you've got like 1,050 foot-pounds of torque under your right foot. And you just
trying to
keep
talk.
smiling.
So I gotta ask. I think it was the one that sold it to me was Dr. Muir's video. I think there's one spot in it where he says, "Oh, we're gonna see how it does," and then he just stomps on it, and you can see the veins on his neck. Just
I
thought
people were being dramatic.
Yeah. So do you really get just stomped on your?
So Porsche gave it to me for some reason. And they obviously sent some. Yeah, they're like, sure, you can have $180,000.
Just bring it back in one piece.
Yeah, right.
Please. But they sent somebody with me because Oh,
really? A Porsche guy with?
Well, they sent someone from a BMW store nearby, actually.
Okay.
So they just knew him, but they work for the same franchise.
So was this like a babysitter for you in the car, basically?
I'm sure. Yeah.
You better fucking behave.
Yeah. So he came with me. And he's actually now a good friend of mine as well. But the feeling that car gives you, it's insane. And like I said, I thought everyone was being dramatic when they drove. But
it's the truth.
You put your foot down. And he kept tapping the gas every now and then. Not the gas. Sorry, he kept tapping the electric.
the pedal.
Does that make sense? He tapped the electric instead of tap the gas. Do you say that in an EV car? I don't know.
That's a good question. Well.
Put your foot on the gas. Put your foot on the electric.
Accelerator.
Just
Delta V. Delta V.
The V pedal.
Yeah, the V pedal. Yeah.
Give it some bolts.
But he kept tapping
acceleration.
He's going like 40 miles an hour, and he taps it for a second, and it's thrown me back for that split
And you're
second.
going to jail.
Yeah. But we
Jail
drove to the
speeds.
photo shoot spot after a bit of me talking about the car. Well, actually, we did the photo shoot, and then I was talking about the car afterwards. But it's, I'm talking about the angles I'm using, the lenses I'm using, settings, the best angles to shoot the car, really, to have that good cover shot look. And, I'd like to talk about the car afterwards or before. I don't really have an order right now. I just want to make sure I get both in one video. But talking about the Taycan Turbo S is just a massive smile on my face. All I want to do is accelerate, but
that's just a strong contender to start with. Here's my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So come see the Taycan.
Go straight in the deep end.
So I have a question about that. So you do amazing photography, amazing videography. I absolutely love it all. When you're dealing with cars, though, specifically cars, as opposed to people do weddings or different photos and things like that, one of the big emotional feelings or experiences is the sound, is like the exhaust note and all that. I guarantee you, the three of us can probably hear 10 different cars like
a
mile away.
When
We
it's
know
coming,
them.
yeah.
Like that. Like we know them.
Yeah.
So how do you represent that, or how do you record that with equipment? Like how do you make sure that is accurately shown?
Little fluffy mic.
Little fluffy mic? Put it on the end of the exhaust.
It's a secret, yeah.
We got
exhaust, yeah.
We got some mics, and I've got a camera-mounted mic, and I'm not even going to act like I know all about videography and all the mics and stuff. So the mic, the stick that goes on top of the camera, that I got one of those, and then the little fluffy one's got two of those. So I use a little fluffy one for the SVR because this is going to sound so stupid, and I don't even know if it's true. I still need to do research. I thought that because it's smaller, it might be a bit more precise in terms of sound than a boom pointing forward and trying to capture everything in front of it.
Okay.
I think it's quite good logic to go off of. Probably not true. I don't know.
We'll let you test.
Yeah.
Need to research that.
Monodirectional versus unidirectional.
And to be honest with you, you're talking, at least to me, when it comes to audio visual. No idea. In Spanish or English. The guys over there on the other side, they might know better. But the comments section will.
There's an audio engineer, somebody audio engineer watches this like, you guys are idiots.
He's going straight to the keyboard.
Yeah. It's like, look, he does aerospace. I do electrical. He takes good photos.
Yes, you can have your mics.
We don't do audio.
But what matters? So there's still the eagerness to learn, and I mean, you can say it out loud. You're
That's
not
a
yet
good one to learn on though. Is a convertible car, especially an F-Type with you've got a 5-liter supercharged V8 coming out of an exhaust right behind your head with no roof. So you've got to manage wind noise and exhaust note, which I managed to do in post editing. But it was very difficult, and I need to learn my mic settings because there's a bit too much wind noise. But I need to get a gimbal, and I think we'll be down for some pretty solid YouTube videos because my first couple ones I'm proud of, because I went from knowing literally zero about videography
to posting
next to zero to posting some videos that it's going to sound really biased, but if I saw someone else doing it, I'd watch it and be like, yes.
No, but there are so many people that cannot get to this level of conversation. They're like, I'm gonna start my own YouTube video. I'm like, do it instead of talking about it. Like,
but you had a really good point earlier though about like Instagram photos. Everyone's saying like, oh, I'm an automotive photographer.
I'm a content creator.
But like you really know your business. You know what I mean? Like you understand the nuts and bolts, the whole side of it. And
I've been doing it since I was 13. I started in wildlife, and then when I moved over here, and when I was about 15 or 16, I combined my love and knowledge of photography with cars, and then I started taking photos of cars, going to car events with a camera, taking pictures, sharing them. People are like, holy crap, this car was here. And it was like, no one else had a camera at the car meets except the ones on their cell phone. Now everyone and their mother does. But it's just, if I'm buying a product or a service from somebody, I want them to know what they're talking about. And I just feel like, if you actually quizzed some of these people out there with expensive cameras and asked them aperture, and they're like, oh, it's like light or dark, like
pick one.
So it's just I think if you're doing something, you're putting yourself out there. I would never do it if I didn't know what I was doing. And videography, I think I've gotten to the point where I can somewhat confidently talk about it and post it.
Well, you've got a good starting point too.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's
coming
a good
from
foundation
photography.
as well,
And also,
so I know cameras already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I think that this is something that happens to most Americans. I'll say it out loud.
Here we go.
I will make it. I will make it geographical.
I was waiting.
There's a syndrome of big mouth, right? And you can put a show, and you can say that you know what you're doing, right? Or you can come forward and say, you can come forward and say, hey, I might not be the best, but I'm putting my efforts to learn. And this is how far I am, and this is how much more I want to do.
Yeah.
And I think it pays. It pays, maybe not at the beginning, because people are going to look at you, or they're going to look at an amateur, and they're going to say, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. But honestly, if you put your hours and if you put your time, down the line of time, you're going to start digging and
you find stuff out yourself.
You're digging on my people is what you're doing. Like.
Honesty goes a long way though, and if you pull up to, say, and we'll just keep it photography just because we're talking about it, but say like a real estate agent comes up to you, sees you have a camera, and that's all she knows so far. Can you do pictures of my house? And you're sort of confident about it, cameras somewhat. Saying, oh yeah, I'm going to do some great pictures, then set an expectation for her, and then you don't meet that looks bad. If you're straightforward off the bat, then she can she can either say, no, I'm going to go with someone more experienced, and so what? You're going to get more experience as you go on anyway. Or she's going to have a low expectation. You're either going to meet that or
and you over-deliver.
So really, like,
under-promise, over-deliver.
Yeah, I was going to say, exactly. Like, under-promise, over-deliver. Yeah. Like, that's probably a good way to be in that kind of...
I think so.
Yeah.
At least the bluntness. Are you speaking from experience of yours with housing? Or?
Oh, he brags about his shit all the time. Yeah. Great. Yeah.
No, I've done a few houses. I've done a little bit of everything.
Okay.
And in fact, perfect example of what I was just talking about was my friend's wedding, and he came to me just because he had an M3. I think he had the M3 at the time.
Tell me the wedding pictures had the M3 in it.
No, it didn't. And it was a stock black E90 at the time. It wasn't that interesting.
All right.
900 horsepower now. I'm red stupid. But he came to me because he knows that I do pictures and. Wedding photographers, for example, my mother was telling me that she went to her friend's wedding and they paid the photographer like 17 grand. But he specialized. Yeah, and I looked up and apparently that is a little bit on the overside of normal.
Let me go buy a camera real quick.
Really?
But he specializes in wedding photography, and I'm talking like if you're getting married and you both have a lot of money.
Yeah,
sure,
that's
where
be a
you
normal
go.
Thing.
Wow.
But if you specialize in it,
we had Polaroids at my wedding.
that's good enough. It's got that old school effect.
Yeah.
But he asked me to do that, and I told him exactly what I said there. I'm like, okay, so I feel somewhat comfortable with cars because I was still getting into it at that point. I'm like, I've never done a wedding before. I've done portraits. I showed him. He liked them. She liked them. And he told me the wedding was at night. And I was like, oh shit.
From lighting perspective, that's got to be hard.
That's very hard because if you have a tripod, you can lower the shutter speed because the camera's not moving anywhere. So you get a still image. You can bring in that light from whatever it is you're using. A wedding, you need sharp pictures, but you're constantly moving.
You carry it with you.
Yeah. So you need to compensate. You need to have a slow enough shutter speed and a high enough ISO, and you have to have the aperture just right to make sure that you've got a perfect blend of everything. Because if you've got your shutter speed too slow, if someone moves their arm like that, they're in shape, but their arm's moving. If the ISO is too high, it's too grainy, and if the aperture is too high, it's just going to be too dark.
We have to ask how did it go?
It went actually really well, and it was down to me under promising and over delivering.
Yeah,
perfect. Yes.
So the pictures, it was in their backyard. They had these almost like Christmas lights coming down, and that was the only thing I had of light. It wasn't even like some legit lights. There was
so up
dark.
From above down, yeah.
And they're talking. I had to get a picture of all of the family members. That was like on my list to do, and have them in combinations with, like the mother with the father.
Of course.
Right, and
everyone
then the
wants to be part
dance
of it,
and everything, and then all of the the special cutlery and all of this all in the dark, and I was shitting it. And I remember though coming out on the other end and looking at the pictures, and on my camera on an LCD or whatever screen you have on your camera, you look at it and the pictures never look quite as good as even when you just put them on the computer before editing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and that was something I learned in the beginning. So I wasn't too worried looking at the pictures. I was like, what? If I bring out the shadows on these, bringing out the shadows, never the exposure. I just want to put that out there. Sometimes the exposure, but mainly shadows. A lot of detail came out, and I hit the nail on the head. And I did it. And I would never say they were at a level of a professional wedding photographer that does that all the time.
But
I didn't have much equipment because I didn't have much money at the time, so I didn't have special lighting equipment.
But as a friend
just
from
a camera with a flash.
As a favor from a friend, it doesn't get better than that.
Well, exactly. And they were happy with them. So
looking at like the automotive side, I mean, you've talked recently about like the metallic paint and like how to do all that.
In the last video we recorded with no audio.
So we actually this is a review of this video. We did a whole like 10-15 minutes, and then I looked down and I realized somebody had unplugged the mic.
Yeah.
And
technical difficulties.
Yeah, we'll go with that one. Yeah.
We cover audiovisual.
But you were mentioning about like the way you do that with that kind of paint, and like you did the Palm Customs R1, the all carbon bike we did, and your shots on that were absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
So like, why don't you talk about that for a second? Because I found that like super interesting, and somebody who is wanting to get into it, that sounds like really good information for them to know.
Well, light painting has become quite popular, and I don't know how long it's been around for, to be honest, but it's basically you slow your shutter speed way down to 30 seconds. So for that 30-second window, your camera is picking up one big image. So the more light you have, you want to bring in as much light as possible, really, if it's dark. So when you're light painting, you have a source of light. Let's say that this is an LED bar and he's a car. I'm gonna go around him for 30 seconds, lighting up, all the bits I want really, which is usually the whole car.
Fiesta.
He's not even an ST. Just
a very small
base.
All up windows. Yes.
So no tinted windows. But you need to. It's not just walking around the car for 30 seconds. You need to take into account. You need to make sure the height is consistent, the distance. If the car is here and you're walking alongside it here, you don't want to move closer at the front or further away at the front because then you're going to have an inconsistent lighting. You need to take into account if, for example, the camera's there. If the car is here and I'm putting the light this way, it's reflecting directly into the camera. So you want to compensate for that as well and make sure you've got no light streaks, which you can edit out, but it's really difficult or tedious to do. So you don't want to do that. But I with metallic cars, I'm more cautious than anything because metallic paint obviously reflects it. Matte cars have a free-for-all.
Have a day.
You can aim it at the camera, do whatever you want.
You must have loved that bike.
Yeah, the bike was good.
Yeah.
I didn't have to take out any light reflections.
Come over, we'll do it any day of the week. Yeah.
But I usually use a strobe if I'm lighting a car up, even in the dark, and that's basically a big flash on a tripod or a stand. And you've got a softbox or a diffuser, so the light isn't as harsh, and you move it along, you keep the camera in the exact same place, and I use my phone as a remote trigger, and then I walk around, hit the trigger, the light flashes the part of the car I want, or the bike in this case, and then I move it to the next part I want, flash it, and that you want to keep the base level consistent, but like the wheels, I moved it in closer for the wheels because I really want to bring out that detail, but when you put it in Photoshop, you have to blend them all together, make sure you use the shadows you want. So I take shots specifically for the shadows, the lighting, and then you just need to make sure that the exposure is consistent.
I'll tell you what, man, that all sounds pretty interesting. It really does. Like
it's fun.
getting like you can I could tell you could seriously get into the weeds on a subject just like photography. Yeah, it's not just like guy with Instagram posting photos.
It makes me
real.
It's a bunch of emotions that go through my mind right now because I'm glad that this is happening so that people understand the back end to what imagery and what actually goes to work before you can double tap a picture and scroll. That's the sad part. Well, you have an exposure on today's world.
Yeah.
To the ones that enjoy it, to the ones that actually either pay for the service or the ones that know the back end, the work that you guys.
You might want to watch how much you're hitting that table, by the way.
Shoot. Sorry, but the back end amount of work that goes into it's a part of work, and it's
though that also kind of goes to the fact that there's probably people. I know there's people out there that probably go to you and say, "Hey, take free photos from me, and I'll give you exposure." And it's like, right? It's like, dude,
it's free.
It's like, dude.
So, This is the thing is that's so tempting to fiddle with. I'm going to put that there. So I'm a big believer in promoting your friends' businesses and stuff like that. So if someone if I need something there's a tattoo I'm thinking of getting, and the first thing I did, I put it on Facebook. You probably saw.
I did. Yeah.
I want to go to my friends first and do that, which I'm a big believer in. But I'm trying to get across the message to people that photography, anything, engineering, all this carbon that Mark does, and it's just like you're not paying for what you get. So you're not paying for the pictures that I'm giving you. You're not paying for the keychain or phone case that Mark is giving you. You're paying for all of the years that have gone into learning that and the money spent on learning that. You're paying for equipment,
which volunteers,
all the R&D,
really expensive for you guys, really expensive for me, and put that on top of the time, that we are gladly giving you, and sometimes traveling is involved, and you just want to, when you take all of that into account, and you get charged a certain amount, it doesn't really seem like
it should, but it should reflect. And funny enough, we were covering this subject the other day. There's another YouTuber that I cover, and the guy. I think the name of the video, the title of the video is F is for ... And I'm thinking, all right, where are we going with it? And I start the video and the guy says F is for friends and family. And I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit lost. But then I started watching and the guy says, say that you know 2 or 3 things about computers, enough to defend yourself. And you say it at a family gathering. Thanksgiving is coming up, holidays, any of them. you're going to have the one uncle that is going to call you every other week. And I'm going to tell you, oh, I broke my machine, I need this and that. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. And when you say you want to support your friends' businesses and stuff like that, that doesn't mean that, oh, I get it for free and then I go show it to my other friends and then there's a network of people. It's like, no, I want to give you money so that you can make your business grow and flourish. And there's unfortunately the two schools of thought. Both of them think that they are right. And both of them think that the other ones are not necessarily true. And it's like, no, I mean, put it into perspective. You want to help your friends. You're not going to help them by taking time away from them or resources or services away from them. And for something like photography, where it's not something you can grasp, it's something you're going to see on a screen, unless you print them or frame them. But like, it's not something that you can actually physically have. People, for some reason, lose sight of the effort and like what you're doing for it. And you know, when you hear something, what we just covered 10 minutes ago on the light exposure and stuff like that for dark pictures, it makes you think, oh my God, I never in my life would have thought that it was this involved. And this is only one type of picture. It makes you wonder how many other things that are around.
The sad reality of it is that I would say, this probably isn't an exact year, but like 2018, I think I started noticing so many people doing this type of thing or trying to, and charging so little. And the pictures were better than what they would be on a cell phone, and sometimes good for a DSLR too. But you know, it was never anything that they could be. And it's like, you know, they'll charge this much when before that, for that type of thing, from a professional standpoint, you'd be charging this much, and then now that's what people expect.
Right.
But at some point, though, you can stand out. So, like someone like you, I mean, you do stand out from the crowd. I mean, you are I mean, really, you do. Like, you are, I don't want to say at the absolute pinnacle of your field, but you're really high in your field.
Oh, it's the top end, yeah. It's the top
I mean, like, you did the shots on, are we allowed to talk about that on the TVR?
Oh, the TV, we can talk about that.
Okay, yeah, so like you did
I haven't spoken to TVR in like a year and a half, right, so we can do that.
All right, so like Toby did the shots on like the new TVR come out. You went to England?
Yeah.
And did the shots and all that. And of course, I mean, everyone around here with nice cars, I mean, you do all their cars, you do dealerships' cars, things like that. So you're obviously there, you know what I mean? You know, something like that, to me, it would be insulting for someone to ask you, hey, will you do this for me for exposure? It's like, what
but
exposure?
That's the sad part. It happens, doesn't it? You're gonna get those guys on Instagram or other. Yeah. There you go. That's don't give them your time. Just let them be.
And you know, if, for example, what you were saying, you know, these companies I have worked with, you know, the Porsche recently, the TVR when I launched that car, Brixton Forged, I was working with them for a while, and then that was a sticky ending. And there's Ferrari, I was with those for about 8 months, I think, about 3 years ago, and that was a lot of fun because, you know, you get to experience these really cool Ferraris. And it's like you get all of that under your belt, and then someone's like, you know, they don't want to pay the amount you're asking. And I charge such an easy amount to figure out, $100 an hour.
All right, and that's easy enough. Yes.
That's very reasonable.
And
even if we're going between 1 or 2 locations, if it gets more than that, it's obviously longer, but 1 or 2 locations, I can cover it in 2 or 3 hours. Editing, as every photographer should be, or media, whatever, you should be a perfectionist. So if I'm done with an image, I look at it before I'm done, and if there's anything that I take out, if there's a leaf in the background way out there that I know is going to be there when I see the picture,
you know it's going to be there.
Even if they don't notice it, but a really clean image looks good, and that takes a lot of time. So for a normal photo shoot on a full set, editing can take me anywhere between 10 to 24 hours, sometimes more. But I do not charge for all of those hours that it could be. I mean, if say a photo shoot was really nice and it only took 6 hours to edit, which is still a good time.
Right.
I don't even charge a 6 hours. I just charge a flat line of 3 hours of editing, and that's a $300 charge on top of the hours.
So really, for what people are getting, and that's something that I wish it was more to be seen. I had a similar case to yours, but from the customer side. Had to be now 2-3 months ago. Upholstery. I needed a seat to be just repaired. A seam on the lumbar support driver's side, left side, got torn, and it was an older car. You could not get the fabric. normally you could get a new replacement. Friend of a friend got me in contact with this guy, single man. I guess I can plug him in. We'll put it on the description who he is.
Are we plugging him in because he's single, or no? You just said he was a single man.
No, a single man, like single man operation, a one man operation, like you, like no, it's
hey, ladies.
No.
He's a single man who doesn't upholstery.
No. But the guy, I dropped him the seat and he said, "Hey, come back in 2 weekends. We'll see what we have in our hands." And just because the guy. They had given me good reference. They had spoken only great things about the guy. I put the money down from the start, and I said, "Just call me whenever. I think we can both trust each other here." The guy went to a junkyard in Orlando, found upholstery that matched, took it, brought it home, cut up what he needed for the job, fixed that, found a seam in the other side that was breaking too, repaired it. Found a rusted bolt on the other side where no one's gonna look ever, and he said, "Hey, one of these bolts was ready to go. I replaced it for you." And I'm thinking, "You went to Orlando?" It's like, yeah, it's fine. And I'm like, "Do you want more than we agreed for?" It's like, "No, still the same amount." I'm thinking,
but see,
when you said junkyard, I got worried.
Yeah.
That was all right.
I mean, when it comes to older cars,
But here's the thing with that, and I know you're this way. I'm this way. I know you're this way. And people like that were perfectionists.
Oh, like, And the guy told me, "I'm not letting this out of my shop without it being to my standard."
It's because your name is on it.
Yeah, exactly. It's your signature.
Exactly.
And you live for it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I can now speak about this guy to you guys as well, and only say amazing things about him. And it's the truth. It's only 10 out of 10. Any upholsterer I need, I know the guy. And if you guys need it, I know the guy.
I might say that.
Yeah. I have a customer's vehicle I might need to talk to you about. Yeah.
It's worth it, and I think that school of thought of realizing, hey, whatever leaves your door is your signature on the. It's your name. It's what you're offering to the world to know about you. Mm-hmm. Let it be what you mean to be, and what your price also reflects. Yeah. And unfortunately, someone like the guys that come to you and you leave on red. It's sad because those guys are going to continue bugging other people in your league or under your league. And eventually, one of them is going to say, "Oh, yeah, sure, I'll do it for
he'll
free."
Get far enough down that ladder.
Right. He'll eventually find one. But then that's kind of what stains the art, It's like, it's not
it just gets
a
worse.
free thing.
Yeah,
it's you're I don't want to say devaluating something, but, you are. The market is suddenly... You're raising the bar. You're lowering the bar more and more every day.
You're racing to the bottom.
Mm-hmm. You're racing to the bottom.
You're racing to the bottom when you do that.
And I used to do a lot more individual clientele who, like people who are proud of their car. Mm-hmm. It was maybe 2 or 3 a week. And
of these,
of people just with their car.
Yeah.
And they wanted pictures of just their car.
Right.
2 or 3 a week, and then as the years have gone by, it's the individual people have been decreasing because there's so many people out there. And phone cameras are very good now, so you can get a good picture from a phone. But, these people that see these pictures of their car, it might be the best picture of the car they've ever seen. They don't really look at automotive photography, so they're like, "Holy cow, this is awesome."
And that is as far as they know.
But from a photography standpoint...
it's pedestrian.
So, you can get so much better.
Yeah. And I think it's worth noting, the viewers also know. 10 p.m., you're in bed, you're scrolling through Instagram, and you know... who took, I don't want to say who took what picture, but to what degree they took a picture out.
Yeah.
Like, some of them is just a guy on his knees with a smartphone thinking, "Oh, this is a cool angle."
Yeah.
I was actually thinking that right there. Because, I can't tell you how many times, and it became a thing probably a few years ago, of people, getting down and, next to the
cool
car.
shots and angles.
No
and
editing, no consideration
just
for
light. On the floor.
There's editing. There's a joke among the photography community, and this isn't just automotive.
Okay.
In Lightroom, you've got all of these different bars. I mean, in any editing thing, you've got all these bars.
All the settings and parameters.
There's one for clarity.
Okay.
And the clarity bar is only if you ever touch it. I try not to touch it because I fucking hate the thing because people do this. But if you ever touch it, it's supposed to be very, very slight. And these people, and it's supposed to bring out the texture. So if you're looking at this mic here, instead of just the mic, it's going to really accentuate all the texture here. People put it to 100.
Just max it.
So
max it out.
And that's where you see, and I don't know why this is a popular thing, and everyone's like, "Oh, this looks so awesome." But that's where you see, if you see a car in broad daylight with a blue sky, you ever see the white edges around it?
Is that
and it looks really weird, and the shadows are really dark, but the lights are really light, and there's just That's
it.
a clarity bar.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Don't touch the clarity bar.
You know what this is?
Don't touch it.
When you were starting to talk about, changing settings and maxing out, I you guys are gonna hate me for this, but it immediately reminded me of deep frying images of just like horrible things where people just grab a meme, they throw it into Lightroom or whatever, and they take every single setting and then boom, max them out.
Well, it shouldn't be there because it doesn't look good, so we're going to...
And you just completely max it out, and you get a monstrosity at the end of it, and people are proud of that, sadly. But,
so I'll tell you what, I think people, if you've learned nothing else from the first part of all this,
don't touch the fucking clarity bar.
Right there.
Don't do it.
There's some free advice right there.
All right, so one thing that we had talked about yesterday and wanted to bring up with you.
Oh.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Group B rally.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Your man over here was talking about, have you ever heard of the seat? Or was it?
No,
not
the seat.
Seat.
No, Seat. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my!
See, I knew. You saw the Spanish man.
Yes, there you go.
I knew what you were talking about before.
You're the only idiot that does it. The American. Yeah.
Oh
the
my!
seat.
The seat. It's called. You have a car called the Seat.
The Seat.
Well, okay. What does that stand for?
The
in
seat.
El Spañola.
No, it doesn't stand
It's not an
anything.
acronym, it's a name.
It's a name. It's like Audi. It's just a name. It's just a name. But it happens to be that in English it does translate to just.
Yes, he has a translation.
The seat.
The seat. The seat.
It's Seat. You can take it for what it is.
Say it with
Seat.
flair.
Yes. With the
Yeah,
flair.
yeah.
That is one of the only words that you're allowed to. It's like when people say Citroën or Renault. You have
Renault. Right.
Renault.
Okay, how do you say it? Do you say Renault or Renault?
Renault. Yes. You see, it depends on who you ask, where you come from.
If you either say it right or you're American.
Or you're.
Say aluminum.
This is where the.
Aluminium is what you're
Aluminum.
Never heard of that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know her.
Yeah, so like.
Is that cult?
So like we were talking about Group B Rally. He was talking about. Oh, what car were you talking about?
The Renault 5.
The Turbo 5. Yeah. And we brought up like your Quattro and all that. And
It's not a Quattro.
Not yet, anyway. Not yet, anyway.
I want to do a Quattro conversion on it. So,
wouldn't that be nice?
Story is, I had a 1986 Audi GT in red, and it was front-wheel drive.
Beautiful.
It was NA.
Yeah.
It was a miserable automatic, but you don't find them laying around everywhere. And I was really grateful that was my first car. I got rear-ended, but it was a collector's car, so it was a $5,000 check.
Wow.
My dad kept that for himself graciously.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, right.
And I also simultaneously did have an actual legit Audi Quattro, the turbo 5-cylinder all-wheel drive.
No way.
Yeah, but it was there was two of them. I only had one, but the person I bought it from, it was $750.
No.
Yeah, barn find.
What
left
year
in
was
a
this that
bush
you're speaking about?
1983. And this was left in a bush.
That beats
And-
my $50 Taurus.
That's a better.
But there was a hole like that big rusted in the roof.
No matter.
The
Yeah,
car
right.
didn't run. There was a
a speed
rat's
hole.
or squirrel, squirrel's nest in the hood. And I was 16 at the time. I had no knowledge of fixing cars at all, and it was just my dad, and that's a massive project to take on.
Mm-hmm.
If I knew about it, what I know now, because I didn't really know the history behind the Quattro, I knew somewhat, but not how much prices have skyrocketed. I'm shooting myself.
You gotta hold on to
and that
it,
was manual, as they all were. But I recently, I think out of pity, or not pity, but a bit of realization from keeping that $5,000 check, my dad found a Audi GT in 1985, I think it is, a white one, but it's manual. It's front wheel drive with a blue interior. It was like it needed a fuel pump, slave cylinder, and a front right fender.
Oh, dude,
and
that's
new
easy.
tires. So I'm just gonna get some wheels, lower it. It's
Yeah.
gonna look good, but I'm thinking of maybe just going batshit crazy with it and having some.
It's
fun.
one replica, yes.
Okay,
The whole
he'll kick the
thing.
crap out of us. And so our thing was this. Our thing was, you've got that car.
Yeah.
He's going to get Le Car.
Le Car.
Yeah, he's got to dress up as a Frenchman.
You remember the
know?
American
AMC.
So when there was a story where the Renault was brought to the U.S. in super small volumes through, what is the acronym for? American
AMC, Motor Company.
American Motor Company. They had a alliance of sort. I shouldn't say alliance. One of their models was the Renault Alliance, but they had a collaboration where they would bring their, let's keep it as French cars over as their economy cars.
LaCrap.
And then some marketing genius said, well, let's look at the base model of the whole series, which is what was in Europe known for the Renault 5, the little two-door tuna can. And they said, well, it's a French car and it's in the US, so we're going to call it Le Car. And they are out there. You're not going to find many, but they exist. And
you can get a Javelin or you can get Le Car.
Yeah, they really had a wide range of cars back then in that series. But I think they existed at the same time. Like you could go all the way from their bad, cool cars to Renault Alliance or AMC Alliance.
Keeps going.
Think about how many cars have you seen ever? I think on my time in the US I've seen 2. That's it. Two of these.
Yeah. I've nearby. I've seen like 2 things. Like that's about it.
Two things.
The
VW.
The thing.
Do you ever go on Hemmings?
There's
a website called Hemmings, which, by the way, if you're one of those people like I am, and you guys are car guys, so I know you are. But if you're one of these people that goes online and looks at all these cars you can't afford, and you're like, yeah, I'll take that.
Bring a trailer, that's it for me. Bring a trailer, that's it for me.
Hemmings is a good one. That's where you find like your S1 Quattros, and they'll be in the US. Like there's Lancia Deltas in the US, and there's Ford Escort Cosworths, which is like one of my.
There's Cosworths.
There's 2 Cosworths in Washington from a sale from one guy. One's like 900 horsepower, the other one's 600 horsepower.
But I mean,
these are rally cars.
These are imported cars.
They are imported.
Okay.
But you just never think that they'd be over here. Like someone's already done it, which is awesome.
Right. Somebody has gone through the trouble.
Yeah, because everyone always thinks like the R34. When's that going to be over here? R33.
My dream car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. But like no one thinks of like those, like the Cosworths and things like that. And what's the Australian one? The
Hollands and stuff.
The Hollands. Okay. Yeah, man, they make some.
They had some cool muscle cars back then. Yes.
But stuff like that is like super cool.
And Audi GTs as well. I saw a couple of those on there.
There you go.
But I'm massively grateful. Like my dad bought me that car, and I'm massively.
So here's our thought. Like what we were talking about. So he's gonna get Le Car. I'm gonna find a Geo Metro.
I'm not smashing up the Audi GT.
I knew he'd say that.
Not
man.
yet.
No, listen.
Not voluntarily.
Oh, I'm scared.
What about what if we find like a $50, $500 like Aston or something like that?
What?
You can get your hands on that? No.
You said Aston.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, and then you said $50 before. I just wanted to make sure because those
just
do
use the door handle. That's it. Yeah.
No, I mean, you find some piece of door handle. Yeah, you'd be amazed. I found it was a Taurus SHO I got for $50 off a dude who
makes Taurus.
Ford.
Not Aston Martin.
Not an Aston Martin.
Okay, but hold up now. I'm just saying, like we okay, maybe not an Aston. But like some kind of British car that's like a junker, like most British cars. Okay.
Yo, that's a good start.
You can find them everywhere.
You can find a midget around.
It's not English, but an Alfa Romeo Spider.
Okay. Or a 124 is it? Or all of those, like the little roadsters. That'll work.
So like you could rock one of those. He's gonna rock Le Car because I don't think we can find the seat over here.
There are no seats.
There are no seats.
Or does it have to represent our nationality? Because I'm a massive Volvo fan.
An Amazon? Wouldn't that be nice? Yes.
Well, actually, there is one in Spring Hill, and it's like 3 or 4 houses down to where my father lives.
What are we like when they were round? Are we speaking or 90-degree Volvos? Like bricks?
Oh no! This is an Amazon.
It's an Amazon. Okay. Awesome.
So, but it's like a shell sort of right now. But it's an Amazon. I mean,
you've seen what people do. Like there's some mad people out there that they start with that. They find a shell. You find them on Craigslist all the time. Amazon shell, $3,000, $4,000. People are like, oh, sometimes. You get the ones that realize it's just a rusty chunk of metal, and they realize that if they get $2,000, it's going to be a good day. Mm-hmm. Some mad person out there found out that BMW E30 convertible has exactly the same wheelbase. You can see where we're going with this. So they took out everything that is a skin out of the BMW, and they just dropped the Volvo wagon on top. God damn it, does it fit well? It's a well done job. We'll put pictures of this guy. It's a well done job, and I mean when you think what the coincidence is that the wheelbase and the track are both the exact same from factory. I'm not saying that all he had to do was lower it on. Of course not. There was a lot of work involved. But I mean, it is beautiful. And of course, from the outside, you look at it and you're like, oh, Restomod, he put wheels, he did suspension, he did something, he painted it. But then he lifts a hood and it's just day in line 6 and you're like, your mind kind of boggles for a minute. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And
the
then
E30 is a stout car. So
yeah,
that
of course. So it's a
surprises me.
great base to start with. And I think if I remember correctly, he found the shell first, and then he was online, realized that both wheel track and base were ideal. He found a rear-ended convertible, and he just took it home, and in one day he had the soft top off, he had the hood, fenders, everything had already been sold. And at the end, he just had a drivetrain, the bottom of the shell from the waist down of the car, and then ever so carefully, he would hoist the Volvo up, cut a little bit of the BMW, bring the hoist back down with the Volvo. He did that, I don't know how many times. Props to this guy. But I mean, it is beautiful. And you see these guys online more and more. They do E30s, or they use an E30 donor, if you want to call it, or a Miata, which they tend to be. Another one that people do that I think is beautiful, and this is the purist, this is where we get a little bit rustled.
Cover your ears.
Cover your ears right now. They grabbed the, from VW, the Carbon Gias, the one that is a single seamless car. They came in convertible and coupe. And they grab a Miata, and somehow everything fits under the hood, even though that was a rear engine car, and they are able to drop it, and it fits perfectly. And again, same wheel track, same wheelbase, and they can make it work. It is beautiful.
It's like when they put the W12 in the R32 Golf.
Oh yeah.
Does it fit? Yeah. Should it fit? Is the right question to ask.
Are you going to die of carbon monoxide while driving it?
Most likely. Yeah. Actually, on that note, just today.
Oh, this is about to be morbid.
I know,
it?
right? Well, he takes it there. Is this a German thing?
No
again?
one died. No one died here. Guy had Integra Type R, Imola yellow. The iconic.
The VR6.
You saw it. The VR6, and I'm thinking,
yeah.
Did you see where he stopped?
Right behind the seats.
He stopped.
Hold up. I haven't seen this.
VW VR6 mid-engine on a Integra, on a yellow
Integra VR.
An Integra VR.
That's what he called it. We just got V in front of the R.
So are we talking about like the late 90s?
Yeah, the Quad Eye?
The Mark 4.
Yeah,
Golf.
So this guy, he just took out the V-Series engine or whatever there was in it, and then said, screw it, that's where the fuel tank goes. And then he put a VR6 engine behind him. But here's the thing. The comment section was a cesspool. If you can find it, it was a joy to read those comments, because there was the Honda people mad, the VW people mad, the safety people mad, because there was no firewall. This guy,
oh my God.
Like, you could go like this and touch, like, stroke the engine behind you. It was scary.
Shit, time for an oil.
Yeah. So like, people were like, hey, are you considering putting a firewall? And then the VW people are like, how do you dare putting that engine in? And then the Honda people are like, how do you dare destroy a car? It was the perfect troll car. I mean, everyone was mad in the comments.
That's crazy.
But when you think about it,
for real,
that is a car.
Two completely opposite things.
Yes,
for
like
real.
two schools of thought that you can make them fight each other. It's just the perfect troll car. I love the idea. What would that be?
LS1 in a Dodge Charger.
And then the Dodge Charger engine on the Chevy car on a Camaro. Yeah.
Hold up. What engine are they putting in the new Vets?
In the new Vets is
it's not an LS3.
No, it's LT, whatever the next generation after the LS is.
We ought to take that.
Okay.
Put it in.
You're funding this
trunk. Yeah. Put it in the trunk of the Charger. Make it a rear engine.
A Viper.
And then take the Charger engine.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Well, you see,
that's what's up.
That's actually a good one, because you're giving them more cylinders. So it's like, are you gonna be mad?
Yeah, I mean,
you had a V8 and now you have a. Are you gonna be mad?
No, it's a V8.
A more reliable.
No. From the Viper.
Oh, from the Viper.
So
yeah. If we're gonna do that, we're gonna take the engine out of a Viper, put in the back of it like a Camaro or
If only we knew someone with a Viper.
Huh? Yeah. Is there anyone?
Yeah, you assholes ain't touching mine. No way. I'm gonna come over here tomorrow, like hoods up.
Get the grinder out and start cutting.
He's gonna come over, start telling German jokes. Like,
don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Come back in a few days. Yeah.
No, you know what would be cool? A Viper engine and like an MX-5.
Something
they've done that. They put the 8.3 liter Viper engine. It wasn't in an MX-5. It was in a Z4.
Oh, really?
They put an 8.3 in a Z4.
In a Z4.
It was like 2016 or something.
Does it fit? Did it fit?
I mean,
Dude,
it was in there.
they had to have cut that thing.
You know the
and stretched
Z4 is pretty long.
Right, it
I
has a
know it's a
nose.
V10
but-
still, but it's they did it.
I mean, the radiator might be a
Fucking
different
radiator's
story.
on the hood. Like, you
And
know,
they put like the E60 V10 from the M5 in the E82. I always forget the code for the old 1 series, but
Yeah,
the 135.
That I've been always
That's
surprised.
crazy.
I met a guy once, Quito is the name. He works up in Washington State. Great fabricator, knows a whole bunch. And I think he had a Discovery. Of all the things, he chose that. I think it was a Land Rover. I wish that I'm correct. He just took the V10 engine from VW from the, what was it, 7 Series in the 90s, I think it was.
VW.
BMW.
BMW. Yeah.
Was it the
So,
7
well, no,
Series?
that was a V12.
Yeah, exactly, the V12,
Yeah.
not the V10. And shoehorned it into this thing. And I mean, when you open the hood, you don't see the strut towers. It's just engine. Like you just open it and it makes you wonder, like, how much did you cut away to make it fit? And it's always surprising to see what extent people are willing to go to just grab the biggest engine they can find.
Dude, the thing that amazes me is when you can do that on a car where you're taking some like massive torque machine, just crazy thing. You stuff in this tiny little chassis.
Big engine, little car.
Yeah, and the chassis doesn't just corkscrew, you know, like
corkscrew yourself. I think you guys were reminding me of the guy with the Hellcat has been out now for what? You'd know.
It was 2016.
Yeah.
So no more than 5 years.
4 years.
Now.
Yeah.
Right. So some guy within the first 2 years found a wrecked one, took off everything that is car, and just ended up with a Hellcat drivetrain to his name. Mm-hmm. He had a Miata, and he said, "Well, we're gonna."
Oh yeah,
I think I did see this.
I mean, and he had zero care when it came to.
He wrecked it too.
Oh, he wrecked it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
No.
That thing went.
it was
that thing went in the trees like round.
I'm surprised it even goes forward as opposed to just on the spot.
just completely.
No, the one that really
Rip itself
irritated me
apart.
was actually very recently, and it was Porsche. Like that's my car. I mean, that's what I aspire to own. I mean, you know, you can get like a yeah, you can get a Boxster or something. The Boxsters are great cars, like the early 2000s, but it's not the Porsche you aspire to own. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right.
Yeah.
But I saw a 60s Porsche. I don't remember exactly which body style it was, but it was the notorious one.
Right. Just
on a Tesla platform. And it was electric.
Wait.
It was you could win it.
Oh, okay. Never mind that. So
that's why I figured you might have seen it, because
I
it was
think-
like you win this Tesla powered Porsche. I'm like, why the fuck would I want that for free?
Was it green? Was it green?
I think
Dark
so,
green?
yeah.
So that.
What
that's,
they do? Take one of the 1,000 horsepower motors and like
So-
put it.
I don't know that it was a powerful one. I think it was just.
So I think I might be able to
Model 3.
chime in a little bit. That
I
is
wasn't where the hell they put the battery.
that is one of the oldest. I shouldn't say oldest, because one of the longest standing EV conversion shops in the States. So they know one or two things when it comes to grabbing a drivetrain and pushing it in. And I think they've been around as long as Tesla has been around. So they kind of have been able to grow alongside with each other. And I think on that one, they have what you said. I think it was like, and I'm sorry to them, but bottom of the barrel Tesla drivetrain. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's only so many batteries that you can stick in a Porsche, because it's a small body. And I mean, you get to be the guy known as the guy with a Porsche EV that is not the Taycan.
I don't want to be known as that guy.
But listen, as like, okay, so like my engineer brain kicks in, and the first thing I think is that car is not made for that.
No, it's no longer. It's just a shell at that point.
Yeah, I mean, because I guarantee you, the center of gravity's too high on the batteries, on the motor,
and that's why they're giving it away for free. They don't want to.
there you go.
They can make money and they don't want to.
Yeah.
Now,
Like,
if you guys want to see an EV Porsche outside of Porsche itself that just came out, Bisimoto, the
BAC.
Is it called the BAC?
The mono, the one-seater.
Yeah.
The Monaco.
Yes. And I mean, that thing is just beauty. And you can tell, I mean, as soon as you open not the hood, but the trunk of it, you guys have seen it, because I'm sure you guys have been late at night looking at Tesla drivetrains and thinking,
well, me and you did.
Exactly.
A couple weeks ago,
I look at real cars.
We can,
he likes to go vroom vroom.
You can tell. The guy just took a dual engine assembly, threw it on the back, stuffed batteries anywhere he could, and I think he has half the range of the base model of any other Tesla out there. But I mean, he can wreck through tires without even trying. And I know that it takes away the beauty, the purity. People can destroy the comment section and all of that. But you do have a car that weighs nothing with torque out of the gate.
Oh, sure, you're talking about electric motor.
Yeah, and sticky tires. You're just there to break necks. Your neck. No one
Yeah,
else's.
yeah,
But
no joke.
you don't make noise. You look cool, but you're just there to have fun with it for some time. And then you have to park it for many hours.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so like someone like me, like I would find it fun to tinker with a motor. I mean, that's
Right.
That's who I am. To tinker with an actual motor, not an engine, so an actual
Right.
electric motor. You know, to play with it, you know, change different things, you know, build Tesla coils, things like that. It's fun to me. But like for your regular average person, doesn't that kind of take away some of the spirit of it? Because like think of like car guys like to get under their hood.
But that's the thing. You cannot say regular person. Like to the car guy, yeah. Like to all of us, it's like it's like fixing a laptop. You can fix it, yeah. But it's like, well, we're back in business, and you don't have the moderation, you don't have the liberty or the availability of changing many things. You can maybe put more batteries. You can maybe get a larger motor and drop it in. But other than that, there can't be that many components that go into play in something like that. You don't have...
Well, and you have to have the technical expertise beyond like, let's put an exhaust on, let's put an intake on.
You didn't put an outlet in your house. You put You're playing with a lot of bolts on those lines. So, of course... maybe our generation will see that happening. Maybe by the end, people might be more inclined towards it. As of today, it's just a little bit of a obscure world for everyone involved. They're cool. Don't get me wrong. Do they have their place? Yeah, they have their place. Yeah. But I think
hybrids as far as we'll go. I know we can do EV, obviously, but
once batteries approach.
I actually tend to agree with you on that because my feeling of that is range is going to be a thing.
Right. I don't even think it's range.
Really? Because I do. Like,
I mean, it can be because I know there's different levels.
Tiers,
and when you get that top range, it's because you're getting the top model and then top dollar. So
course,
not everyone is willing to spend that much.
Of course,
but it's what appeals to the masses. So if you're shoving electric vehicles down everyone's throats, like I'm with BMW right now, and not with them as in on their side. I mean, I'm on the side, but I work with BMW.
Right.
And their whole thing is sort of like Volvo were talking about. They want everything electric by a certain point.
By X year, yeah.
And the thing with that is there's going to be a point that when you do that, people are going to stop buying your vehicles because a lot of people don't want it. And especially for a brand like BMW,
they don't want to make the change. Yeah.
Motorsport. You look at,
you
can go into BMW places. Yeah, that pedigree. You've got the M1. You've got all of these insane cars. I mean, for God's sake, they made the engine for the McLaren F1.
The driving
and then now you want to be quiet and humble. And it's just, you can put power in, but shoving 500 horsepower into the iX3 they're talking about coming out with, in a straight line, that's great. Next red light, green light, great. But no, I don't think, not everybody is going to want to buy that. And, manufacturers make cars based on what people want. And if not everybody wants that, I mean, I'm sure they'll continue to make electric vehicles because there are people that want them.
But how much of that do you think is them being honest, and how much of that do you think is them almost like a publicity stunt? And I say that because like recently Airbus came out and said they basically want to turn their entire air fleet into,
I don't want to say the word, but
it's
good
ridiculous.
luck.
Into either electric vehicles pretty much or hydrogen based. Well,
so you're not going to be able to charge your phone on there, then? That's
right. Well,
if you charge your phone, we're not making it to Scotland. Or
dropping in the Atlantic.
Like first off, like as soon as I saw that, and you, I mean, you're an aerospace engineer.
Like
you can really get into this, and like I'll tell you right now, from an energy density standpoint,
you don't have it.
You don't have it. I mean, the amount of hydrogen you'd have to carry to do that is ridiculous. And they're saying like, it's 5 years. We'll have the technology.
Right.
No, you won't. We ain't had it in 50.
And here's the thing. Today,
exactly.
Today, we can't say it. We cannot say it out loud. I think that what we can see in our lifetime is same range and same charge time at something competitive with gas. Now, will it weigh the same? Will it behave like a gas-powered car? No, it won't. It's going to be hefty, as it is the Tesla, for example. They call it the Texas Skate, and that's 4 wheels, a motor, and just a chassis of battery, and that's heavy.
But see, exactly. At some point, though, it's diminishing returns. I mean, you cannot have that amount of mass that you're trying to move on such a low energy dense.
Let's put it this way: and we can say it easily. In our table right now, I think they're all within frame. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 phones plus the laptop battery, plus the other laptop battery. That technology goes alongside with car battery technology. These companies are pouring money to those departments. Like, they are literally killing them with money to say, hey, whatever you can do, cut the weight in half, do what you can to progress this technology as much as we can. Whoever can design the next smartest battery is the one that is leading that market. And it's ridiculous that it comes to that. The motors, they can do it.
But people don't even realize, like, a lot of people don't realize, cars originally were electric cars.
Yeah.
I mean, the very original car was an electric car.
In fact, I think there were like percentages of time where the market was flipped over.
Yeah,
so
it was
the same amount of electric that we have today was gas back then and vice versa. And
but see, the problem always has, so we've been working with chemical batteries for well over 100 years now. And we're maybe just now to the point where, it gets you 150 miles, maybe it gets 300 miles, whatever this, that. But the mass you have to carry around to do that.
Right.
But see, that's why I think a hybrid is where we're going, what's going to make sense. Because for one, you think of somebody like, I've driven to California many times, or like, Las Vegas to go to the Strip or the racetrack.
The journey's going to become a lot longer if you have to stop along the way.
Yeah, like if you're constantly having to stop. And on top of that, look, you drive, anyone from Texas will tell you this. You drive I-10 in West Texas, dude, there ain't nothing for hundreds of miles. Like, and I guarantee you the 80-year-old gas station sitting there ain't going to have an EV hookup.
Probably not.
Yeah, so like, you're gonna have to, either that or else everyone's driving around with like a Honda generator in the back of their car.
So here's where it comes to play. 10 years ago, Tesla wasn't anything that was talked on the table. Not because it didn't exist; they existed, but it wasn't. It was a niche car. They had the Roadster and very little left. I think that's all they had at the time. And it wasn't even their car. It was just a Lotus that they had taken stuff out and thrown batteries in and call it a day. But it makes you wonder, we've gotten thus far. And then we have other companies that are throwing their hat in the game, and they're saying, hey, we can do that too. So if in 10 years we've been able to do that, in another 10 years, who knows what's going to be on the table?
True, but we're already, even if you look at the batteries from 10 years ago to the batteries today, yes, they're much better.
They've advanced.
They've advanced some,
yeah,
but not at the rate at other technologies. Because when you try and work with electricity, it does not. It's not like, we just need to make a better microchip. We just need to shrink a microchip. It's not the same thing.
Right.
It's a finite thing. Like, you have to have this chemical makeup for this battery. To hold this kind of charge, whatever. You're not going to use capacitors to do it. It's just not how capacitors work.
Right.
Like, people think you can just charge capacitors and like discharge the whole thing at one time, and they'll store power
Have
forever.
you seen Back to the Future?
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I got a flux capacitor. Yeah, I mean, I guess we
Don't you know how it works?
Yeah. Get
Double E over here.
If I come up with Mr. Fusion, I'll let you guys know.
Mr. Fusion.
But so it gets to a point of diminishing returns where it's like either we're going to be driving around dump trucks like full of batteries, you know what I mean, or at least something that weighs as much as a dump truck.
Because imagine something the size of an X7 but battery powered.
Yeah,
right. But that's the thing. Just now, I think it just went into market for the next year. The freaking Hummer. I mean, it's a full.
Yeah.
It's a monster. Yeah. It's as big of a. I mean, look at the American market. There's like, hey, you get to drive the Hummer again, and it's bigger than the last one, and it is better, faster, cooler, and it's like people are like, oh shit, that sounds happy.
And if they keep doing stuff like that, and what the Porsche Taycan is capable of, because as I mentioned in the video I did on it, the Porsche Taycan keeps its pedigree somehow. I don't know.
You think so? You think so?
Driving it, I mean, I've driven a lot of different Porsche, from their cruise, like the Panamera and stuff, to their 911s. I know what a Porsche feels like, the older ones. And the Taycan, I don't know if it was the Turbo S specifically, because I don't know if it was because it was the Turbo S specifically, because I know that you've got lesser models.
Right.
But that car in particular felt like a Porsche, and
so they managed to keep the
and it felt, other than the sound, that's all that was missing, and that was quite sad. But even down to the interior, it's just like everything that you laid your hands on.
It's what you know.
Yeah.
It's what
and
you're used to.
And it didn't feel as heavy as the 5,200 pounds or 5,300 pounds that it weighs.
That is the curve.
You could throw it around a corner and it would take it.
Well, what kind of suspension is it run? Magnetic ride or?
I believe so. I didn't really look into the suspension.
I think it's magnetic rides. Yeah. I mean, you already have electricity, might as well use it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But something like that definitely can. Yeah, make up for the feel.
And it makes me wonder for something like the Hummer, where they were raising the Cybertruck, and I honestly don't know where they stand.
What happened to the Cybertruck?
I think it's yet to be made. In fact, I was mentioning earlier that I was doing something for these people, but within next year we should be able to see something. So
people with $100.
We know my feeling of us. We talked about that yesterday.
Right? It has its place. It has its place, and the American people are gonna love it. You get something that looks like a spaceship, something that
became a meme, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, it's riding on the internet wave, and people love that.
That is the publicity stunt you talk about.
Yeah. And people love it, and I mean, it doesn't have to be good so long as people talk about it. It's like saying there's no such thing as bad press. It's just
when
press,
you say you have one, people are like, oh whoa,
oh shit, he's the guy with the Cybertruck. Yeah, you're that guy now. It's not. I'm not gonna say that is because it's not out yet. It's gonna be an icon, but how many other cars are drawn with a ruler and kicked to production like that? No, you don't see that. It's incredible.
That is literally something like as a kid when you're asked to draw a car, you
drew
a Cybertruck and you didn't know
five-year-old car.
But hey, we're coming up. Well, we actually just ticked over an hour.
Go within the hour.
Oh wow, okay. Well, I'll tell you what.
What did we learn from this? Basically,
clarity bar. Don't touch it.
Right.
Don't touch clarity bar. Yeah.
Understand the value on a service.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What's another flavor of today?
I'd say that EVs have a long way to go, and there's going to be a battle between, there's still
whether or not to go full EV. Basically,
gas is not going away. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, Airbus is not making a fleet of aircraft.
Not anytime soon.
I wonder if they'll have charge stations up in the cloud.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah,
you just park on it like they were going to do.
Like the cloud opens and you just come in. Yeah,
I'm still waiting to figure out how they're going to run a jet engine on electricity. I'm pretty sure you need thrust, buddy.
Small curtains. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, guys, listen, I really appreciate you being here. Toby, I really appreciate you being here. I think that's about it. Don't forget to check out Toby's YouTube.
Toby Edward Photos.
Right there. Go to that. He does some really cool stuff. Awesome videos. All right, guys. Well, I think that's it. And we are DONE done. See ya.
Ciao.